Still no word from the cabinet. Then I guess it's just a
The cabinet meeting is about to begin. All parties, please proceed to the cabinet chambers.
Sounds like our cue. Here we go.
Hello.
Ah, Captain. Congratulations on joining the ranks of the...
Ah, welcome. You must be the captain Hadrian mentioned in her report. You have our thanks for the risks you faced in securing this information. Well, I'll be sure your commanding officer hears that you've done them satisfactorily. Now then, we have two petitioners here making a surprising request. Access to the UC Xeno Warfare Team's Terramorph data, currently housed in the Armistice archives. A request which will require not just this body's agreement, but that of all three Armistice signatories. UC, Freestar Collective, and House Varun. Now, Captain, we've all read Hadrian's report on the subject, but we have yet to hear from you. Perhaps you could summarize for the Cabinet what it is you see as the goal of this endeavor. That is something to consider. Though we also have to take into account the nature of the data you require.
Madam President, I object to the very premise of this meeting. While no one would argue that what happened on Tau Ceti was anything less than a tragedy, Terramorph attacks are not some sudden new threat on the horizon. They've been happening for generations. To demand we hand over banned archival knowledge and possibly upset the balance of galactic diplomacy because of a single attack seems at best panic. And at worst, a power grab by the daughter of a bloodthirsty warmonger and her associates.
I would remind the chief diplomat who he's speaking to. If it's my father you're looking to address, you're welcome to consult a medium. I would also ask, how many deaths the cabinet requires to act? 50? 50,000? Because if tragedies like Tau Ceti are just prelude to more attacks, I have no doubt you'll get the body count you require.
Let's keep this civil, shall we? And while there should be no doubt the preservation of life stands paramount among this body's duties, Chief Yassine has a point. Will a single attack, however troubling, be sufficient to convince the other factions to grant us access to what they no doubt consider weapon data? I don't think it's enough. Perhaps you can help, Captain. As the one who actually collected the sample in question, did this Terramorph seem at all alarming to you?
That is worth considering. This attack took place on an almost completely uninhabited world. The casualties were minimal as a result. But if there's another attack, will we be so lucky?
Yes, a fine point, Admiral. So then, Captain, given the discussion now and the information you've been privy to thus far, if you were in our position, would you grant the request made to open the archives?
I'm uncomfortable opening the archives without gathering more information. However, if that's the path forward you prefer, then so be it.
I'm inclined to agree.
As am I.
I suppose that does get to the heart of the point, doesn't it? Very well. I consent. The galaxy was lucky you were here today, Captain.
You and I are in agreement, Chief Diplomat. So, if there are no other objections, I believe we can agree to give our full backing to make the request to... What was that? incident. Chief Sarkin, what's happening?
There's been an attack at the spaceport. Terramorphs.
Terramorphs. More attacks. Just as predicted.
Good God.
Damn it. They're here. Now.
There must be another explanation. The creatures evaded our scanners somehow.
There will be plenty of time for conjecture later. Chief Sarkin, order the evacuation of the spaceport and have your men contain the things, but do it discreetly. The last thing we need is a citywide panic.
Yes, ma'am.
Admiral Logan, the local barracks can provide support?
I'll make the order myself. The nearest anti-Xeno squad, though, is off-world. Going to take a while to bring them in.
Well then, we'll have to make do with the tools we've got. You two, we can't risk those things getting out of the spaceport. I want you both on the next train there. We'll let them know you're coming and that you've dealt with these things before. Now go show them how it's done.
We're on it, ma'am. Captain, I'm right behind you. Let's get down there.
Now!
Stop! We're trying to help you!
Please! I can't stop!
For God's sake. Have that rubbish already.
Glad to hear what...
Time to go?
Feel it. Doing. Stop. Fighting. I'm gonna need a gun. Lock it down.
Thank God you got here when you did.
Yeah, what the hell happened back there, Captain? There's no excuse for using lethal force here. Or you could have used the EM gun like you were ordered. These are lives you're playing with. Now, the way those people were acting, I've seen this.
I don't know. We'd tried to restrain them, get them on the train, but some of the other officers down there, we couldn't restrain them fast enough. They just...
Pheromonic projection. Some terramorphs, they can induce this. It affects everyone differently, but some people just lose control, turn against everyone around them, even if they don't want to. You kill the morph, you break the hold. But this means we're gonna need to be real careful with our fire. Well, you better keep that EM weapon loaded then.
That's unlocked. Please, do what you...
Something's out there.
No time to waste, Captain. Stash the EM and pull.
If you're not a bottle of antiseptic, then I don't need you.
Evacuation order has been issued for the
Gonna be
spaceport
okay.
district.
It's not real.
All citizens are required to proceed to the nearest shelter.
You might back up. Don't just stand there. Good.
They're going to.
Captain! It's going to be okay. It's not real. Whatever you're experiencing right now is not real. We have to put down that floor.
Save. Never save. Never save. Never save. It's here!
Right behind.
Our experts? We've got the remaining creatures locked down on the landing pad. We're barely holding our perimeter. They said you've done this before. Well, one fire team to spare and whatever supplies you need, but I can't risk them taking over any more women. Put those things down and do it fast. We'll hold them as best we can.
What can I help you with? Have something for... Goodbye.
Heard you might be looking for some backup. You say the...
You two have any experience with terramorphs before?
Only the brief they just gave on the way here. But we know how to handle pressure.
Surviving a full-on mental assault isn't the same as keeping your cool in a firefight.
We're not UC security. You don't need to worry about us. Roger that. We're on you. Whatever's out there, I'm ready.
It's got me! It's got me! Where are you?
It's too strong. Give up now.
not working. It's never going to work.
You're not gonna leave me, are you? No sign of hostiles. Standing down.
Escape. We'll get him next time.
You know the drill. Kill him!
Yeah. Changing plans? On it.
All wrapped up. We should go tell the sergeant what happened.
It's over. Thank God. If these things reached the... I'm listening. I'll only carry... So long.
Heavens, you're back in one piece. I guess our people weren't so lucky.
The few protecting the many.
And it would have been plenty more if it hadn't been for the two of you.
The city owes you both a debt after this.
We were just in the right place at the right time. Captain, we should report back to the President. Let her know the Terramorphs have been dealt with. Take care of yourself, Sergeant.
Attention. The spaceport has been secured. Safety precautions remain in place. Please wait for the all-clear signal before exiting your homes. That is all.
That's a relief to hear. Thank you, gentlemen. Let your people... Captain? Hadrian?
Prevent more attacks.
It would appear that the Cabinet owes you our thanks for what you did for the city today. As well as an apology. Your concerns about the Terramorphs, well, consider them validated.
Thank you, ma'am.
Of course. I only wish we could have acted sooner. Now, today's events have only clarified our path forward in the eyes of the Cabinet. You will have our full support in collecting the Terramorph data from the archives, as well as a subsequent investigation into the nature of these attacks. But to accomplish those goals, we're going to need the right people in the right places. As such, the Cabinet has authorized me to reinstate you, Hadrian, effective immediately, to your former rank of Major. As soon as we've got the data in hand, we want you investigating these attacks and how to stop them. Will you do this?
Yes. Yes, ma'am. I'd be honored.
Excellent. But as you've both made clear, for such an investigation to succeed first, we're going to need someone to convince the Freestar Collective and someone who knows precisely the sorts of dangers the colonies and all the galaxy are facing right now. The Cabinet wants you, Captain, to be that representative. We do. In exchange, we're willing to fast-track your citizenship upon collection of the data. So, will you help us? I'm glad to hear it. Now, we, of course, won't be sending you in without the proper support. Deputy McIntyre in the Office of Interstellar Affairs will be your guide on gaining access to the archives. You should be able to find her in her office across the hall. And on behalf of the whole of the United...
I'm gonna go check in with Chief Engineer Kulkarni. Start getting a plan together for that data. There are so many different groups across the settled systems. It's...
Pardon?
Was it really Terramorphs? In the city?
That must make you my Vanguard captain. Welcome to Interstellar Affairs. I'm Deputy Chief Diplomat McIntyre, Chief Yassine's second-in-command. I heard you were instrumental in protecting the city from the attack. You have my gratitude. I was also informed that you gave quite the presentation to the Cabinet. Chief Yassine wants you to know the Interstellar Affairs Office is fully committed to this endeavor, accessing the Terramorph data and beyond. We're going to do everything in our power to make sure you have the tools you need. And that means first getting you into the archives. You do know what the archives are, correct? It was a mutual agreement, but I suppose you touch on the spirit of it. So, you also know then that access to the archives is only granted in cases of dire emergency. and requires a one-time use code from UC, Freestar Collective, and House Varun. Now, the UC is already on board, so that means we'll need to convince 2 people, the ambassadors of the Freestar Collective and House Varun, to hand over their code. Get them both and you'll have your data. But that's a lot easier said. It won't be. Both ambassadors have reasons they won't, or can't, work with us. Now, I'll provide guidance on how we believe you can acquire each code, but ultimately, it'll be up to you to get them both to cooperate. And I do mean cooperate. Threats and violence are off the table here. Though that doesn't mean we can't get creative. But it does mean we need to get you up to speed on who you're dealing with. Who do you want to start with? Ambassador Radcliffe of Freestar, or Ambassador Balmore of House Varun? Ah, the good Ambassador Radcliffe. She's a veteran of the Colony War, and her only goal in life is to make ours miserable. Now, officially, our office is suggesting you try and negotiate with her. Use your experiences as a member of the military and with the threat we're facing. And who knows? Maybe that'll work. But my suspicion is we're going to have to rely on other tools to get her code. Certainly. See, good diplomacy is all about the careful application of pressure. We just need to find the squeeze. UC Intelligence has a recording device planted in the ambassador's living quarters, which we suspect. But getting caught trespassing is a quick way to land yourself in an embassy holding cell. So, if you are going to try and access the device, you're going to need to find a way in there without being seen. Now, we recovered some intel we believe should be able to... But there's also a disgruntled staff member you might be able to pump for information. Maybe even convince to work with you. All right. Here, your diplomatic ID. I'll give them a heads up you're on your way. Not likely. And take these. Chief Yassine wanted you to have some options on how to... Captain, would you like to... Ambassador Balmore's a challenge. When the rest of House Varun retreated into seclusion shortly after the signing of the armistice, Balmore stayed here. He's since lent his support to a small number of archival requests, so there's real hope he might again. Though claiming to know how a member of House Varun thinks is a quick way to earn yourself a psych eval.
Well said. There's no reason to assume they're any worse than us, despite their cultural beliefs.
Of course. But there is... We're not 100% sure Balmore's actually still alive. His public appearances were always rare. But it's been several... Scans of the facility show life signs, but not... Your task is to find him and kindly but firmly remind him of his duties under the... I have no doubt. Now, the embassy front door isn't an option, but our spies have stated there's a side entrance that should allow you... Here. This device should get you all the way down to the embassy interior. Once you're inside, though... And fair warning, we received a report that alarms might have been tripped inside the embassy during the attacks. Watch out for... Now, if you have additional questions or require clearance for a new approach we haven't already discussed, don't hesitate to ask. I'd suggest you start with Ambassador Radcliffe. Approach her while the attack is still fresh in her and her staff's mind. Be smart out there, Captain.